And we're getting away from the swamp now. I want to show you this tree over here. Gotta get the right angle. I'll get this in a little bit. I have no idea what kind of tree it is. It's old. It's dead. I just thought it looked neat. Big holes in it. I bet you cool birds live in there. These adder's tongues obviously aren't too fussy about where they grow. Here they are growing up in our limestone path. That's a hardy flower. Here's what ferns look like when they first come out of the ground. We call those fiddleheads. And when they're still all curled up like that, you can pick them and steam them. And they are so good. But only pick the shiny ones. The fluffy ones, they got like a little furry coat on them. They're kind of bitter. They won't hurt you, but they don't taste very good. There's what they look like when they get a bit taller. And there's some closer to adult ones laying on the ground over there. Tall, if the circumstances are right. These ones usually get up to about 2.5 feet. Then you can't see much in the forest. And we're a little further along now. As you can see, the forest is even getting more sparse. Over there is a bunch of trees just coming out with their leaves, so we can still see well in here. Once they come out with their leaves, you can't see very well in here. It gets pretty dark. Check out the woodpecker holes in that tree. He must just climb right in there and get them from the backside. A woodpecker's not very big. 8 to 12 inches tall at the most. Some of them are even smaller. I often wonder how come they never get a headache from all that pounding they do. Geese are noisy today. I heard a woodpecker earlier, but he hasn't settled down yet. Keeps just moving from tree to tree. Looks like this tree fell down last summer. I didn't get over here this fall. If you watch our videos, we're out doing other things. Betcha that made a thud when it went down. There's another plant that's about to have flowers. They're not very big, maybe the size of a dime. We cut the trees up and leave them in here because it makes food and they'll decompose, become soil. Some of them become homes for animals. squirrels, ground squirrels, things like that. Oh, and the woodpeckers have to clean them up before we can do anything. Look at all the holes in this one. Here's what the inside of one of those looks like. Just in case you were curious. I've been on a limestone walkway for a while. I prefer it over the boardwalk, actually. I had to walk in here into the bush because I really wanted to show you this. Wait for it. Wait for it. See all this dead part of the tree? Look at the size of the tree that thing came off of. That tree has got to be 4 feet across. I didn't even know we grew them that big in Ontario. Thing is huge. It is so sad to see it dead. But to get that big, it obviously had a good long life. Holy moly, that's a big tree. I just had to get around to the other side for you. Look at this thing. It's a monster. Oh, I bet you that was beautiful in its day. Now I wonder how tall it was. Wow. This is raw nature. This is the way it is in the forest. We don't sugarcoat it. We don't pull out the dead wood, make it all pretty for you. Check out the size of this one, guys. That bottom one's about 1.5 feet. Top one's a good foot. Don't normally see them that big. Largest one I've ever seen was about 3.5 feet, and it was about 2 feet deep. It was huge, and it was like, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 inches thick. It was amazing that it could protrude from the tree that far and support itself. Okay, we're going to turn around and head back, mostly because I parked my car back here. We've probably walked a couple of miles. I didn't show you everything because after a while it all starts to look alike. Look at the moss covered rocks. Aren't they cute? Looks like little stepping stones. Well, wouldn't that tree make one heck of a slingshot? Right directly sitting above me in the tree That big clump of leaves? That's probably a squirrel nest. Might be a bird's nest, but it's probably a squirrel nest. Here's an excellent example of how a dead tree gives life to others. Between the bugs that the birds have already eaten, and now you've got this moss growing, and you have several plants growing out of it. And eventually it'll decompose down and become earth, and then other plants will grow in it. And here's another example. There's a woodpecker following me. But I can't see him. He's up there somewhere. I can hear him. And of course now he's not going to make any noise, so you can hear him. And this is one of the things that I have been looking for you. It's a jack-in-the-pulpit. They're really hard to find because of their coloring. But they're not the prettiest flower, but they certainly are unique in their own way. I was beginning to think I wasn't going to find one of these. I have one in my garden, but it hasn't shown up yet this year. So I suspect it's not coming up, which does happen occasionally. Just in case we don't find another one, I'm going to give you a full shot of this one. I took a picture of this exact same one about 5 years ago. Man, did I get my feet wet. And then I walked about 20 feet down the path, and there was about 10 right next to the path. This year, I walked down the path, but I can't see them down there. I'll look again. Well, I did it again this year. I didn't come back out the way I went in from taking a picture of the jack-in-the-pulpit, and I got a wet foot. Right there is soggy, and I should know better. Remember I was telling you about the fuzzy fiddleheads, that they were bitter? This is an example of the fuzzy fern fiddleheads. See how they have that fur all over them? They don't taste very good. Look at the color of that fungus. Another example of life that grows on our trees. Well, I walked that whole strip of path, and I know with those other jack-in-the-pulpits I seen, where there was a couple right in there, and there was a bunch right up there on that little bend. And I walked all around there. I didn't see any. So, I had to get my feet wet to get those ones. And I'm glad I did. I was hoping to get the lady slippers, but I think I'm a little too early for those. They're another pretty flower. So, look forward to another video from the swamp. Which you'll probably get more than one anyway.